All right, so hello everyone. Happy 2024. I'm recording this in January 2nd of 2024. And one of my goals this year is to start sourdough baking. So, sourdough baking journey. No edits here. I kind of know what I'm doing after watching a million videos and reading hundreds of blogs probably. So I feel a little bit educated, but still very lost at the same time, which I'm sure if you're here, you probably feel the same way because this is day one of making a starter for sourdough. Because if there's anything we probably know by now is that you need a sourdough starter in order to start sourdough baking. Make one homemade. Tons of videos out there on how to do a homemade sourdough starter. Fun fact, I actually tried to do that today. And she's in the background over there kind of doing her thing now. I just made her a few hours ago, but I'm not sure if she's gonna work out, so we'll see. But either way, I also ordered a sourdough starter culture from Amazon. Love Amazon. Okay, but anyways, but it's kind of like my backup, right? So I was like, don't mess it up, Sonia. So we're gonna do this today. I'm gonna do this with you. So it's a San Francisco sourdough. Oh my goodness, sourdough starter culture. I need to slow down. It's from Cultures for Health. So what it is, what comes in here is a starter culture made from organic white wheat flour, non-GMO. So it's dehydrated. So once it's activated, it says this starter culture can be maintained to reuse as a continuous source of leavening. Maintain. So that's something else. Right now, we're just going to start with trying to hydrate this and get our starter going. And then as this journey continues, we'll talk a little bit more about maintaining. I know there's tons of videos out there about discard and feedings. I'm going to try and go the way of more of an intuitive way of conquering our starter, right? And getting it to a good strength and with lots of activity. So a lot of blogs and a lot of videos you see out there will say, hey, you know, you need to feed this every day, you need to discard this much, etc., which I'm excited for, you know, to have some discard for recipes, but I'm not trying to discard half of it every day and feed it every day. I know it's kind of like a pet, but there's other routes to go as well that I've read up on as well, where it's kind of just intuitive, where you're looking at your starter, especially if it's so young and we're starting it new, and just seeing, hey, does it need to be fed or not? You know, is she hungry? Basically is what we want to get to. So we're going to look at those signs. We want to look for signs of how it smells. It's going to smell like a sweet sour smell. It's going to have lots of bubbles. What else? Oh, it'll double in size. So once we get there and we see all that activity, then we have a choice. We can either discard and feed, or if we want a lot, because let's say we want to have a good amount of starter, because hey, when we do our first bake, guess what? We're not going to just do one loaf. We want to do a couple loaves. We're going to do this. We're going to go big or go home, right? Because that's the way I see things, right? When I do my first bread, when I bake, I'm probably going to do two. I'm not going to just do one, because if it does come out good, you know that's going to be gone, and then I'm going to be like, how did I do that? So, and if it fails, it fails. Whatever, we're learning, right? Anyways, so that's going to be in the next coming videos, step by step. Today, we are just going to start it, and then we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to do an observation. If there's actual activity with this one, which I'd be very surprised if we get a whole lot of activity in one day, but who knows, right? Then we'll take it from there. I have a small jar here, just a small little mason jar. What is it, one of these 12 ounces? But yeah, if I need to change it to a larger one, then we can do that time. I probably won't discard right away because I want to build up a little bit. So here we are. Let's see these instructions. All right, I'm going to put you guys down over here. I don't really have a stand. So what I do have is some warm filtered water, because we don't want that high chlorine water here in southern Texas, because we do not want to kill off all our our yeast and in those cultures, right? And then I have my mason jar. And then I also have a scale. Not sure if I'm gonna need that or not, but eventually we might need that. So I have all that here. I have something to mix it with, a little spatula, and then we're gonna need something to cover it with. But for now, let me set you guys down over here, and I am going to see if I can get this in a position where you can actually see. All right, ladies and gents, I'm really hoping that I don't mess this up. So here we go. Let me see here. Kind of get this. I think you guys can see that from there. Okay. So here we are. This is our San Francisco style sourdough starter, as I said before. So we're gonna open this puppy up. Got our mason jar here. Let's see what we got. Comes with instructions. Also comes, I believe this is the Dehydrated Starter. Okay, it's got a little tear thing here, easy tear. Ooh. Oh my goodness, did you guys hear that? That is some loud thunder. I really hope the lights don't go out here in South Texas, because anytime we have thunderstorms around here, it's like the city shuts down. Sometimes the lights go out. I don't know why. Okay, so what we have here says here that we're going to need water free of chlorine and fluoride. So that's exactly why we talked about having that filtered water or distilled water. Mine, I went ahead and I have it just a little bit warm. I pulled it out of my my water jug filter here, and it comes in hot and cold. So I just poured in a little bit of the warm water just because it is wintertime and my kitchen is a little bit cooler, on the cooler side. And it is a cold, rainy day here. So I just want to make sure that it gives it a little boost. So that's why I have warm water there. So it says you're also going to need a glass jar, which we have. We're going to need a rubber band, a mixing utensil, and something to cover this up. We can do a coffee filter, maybe plastic wrap, or a cloth. I have some discarded holiday cloth that I bought, and I just tore a piece off, and we're going to use that puppy. And I don't care if it's Christmas themed because I love Christmas, so we'll just use it. Okay, I have some things ordered on Amazon, some fancy sourdough stuff coming, but that's for later. All right, so activating your sourdough starter. It says add a packet of starter to 1 tablespoon of flour and 1 tablespoon of room temperature water in the glass jar and stir thoroughly. Wow, that's not much at all. This is going to be a very small amount of starter, and then I guess we'll have to feed it and keep going from there. Okay, so there it is then. Add packet of starter to 1 tablespoon. Let's get the measuring out then. Let's see here. I'm going to rinse this off really quick because sometimes my kids use these and then, look, I feel like this one was used and they don't wash it. They're like, oh, and they just stick it back in the drawer. Okay. 1 moment, please. All right. And I want to make sure I just didn't have anything on there. I just want to make sure that it was clean because I don't want any molds or spores that are not supposed to be in there. So, okay. So flour, I have some flour here. I have the King Arthur unbleached bread flour. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some of that in. Actually, you know what? I have some of this acorn flour too. I'm gonna add a little bit of that too, because I know it'll give it a good boost. So I'm just gonna top it off with that. There, so here we are. So I got that bread flour in there, and then this was so out of the whole million blogs and videos that I watched, I heard that this flour is really good and really will give your starter a boost so that, you know, when it gets hungry, it really likes to eat this. So I guess the yeasts are kind of like us. They like a variety of things to eat. So we'll give it a try. All right, so we got the tablespoon of flour. Now we need the tablespoon of room temperature water. I'm gonna go ahead and put the starter in there, and then we'll put the water and mix it in. So here we are with our starter. I'm smelling it, you guys, just because. Ooh, it does actually have a little bit of a, oh, it has a sour smell to it, almost like vinegar. Okay, interesting. All right, let's get all that starter in there. We paid for it, right? All right, it's in there, you guys. Don't mind me and my humor. I find myself funny. Other people may not. Okay, and then the 1 tablespoon of water. There goes the agua. Okay, and stir thoroughly. I'm gonna use this side just because it's not really much. Should be interesting. Kind of scraping down those sides and seeing what we got here. So that's pretty incorporated. There we go. Okay, you guys. Like I said, just kind of scraping down the sides a little bit with the side of the spoon. So there's that. Okay, so it says here, pro tip, you're looking for your starter to bubble between feedings. That's the fermentation at work. So correct. So after 12 to 24 hours, feed the starter with an additional 2 tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of water and stir thoroughly. So I guess we can come back. Let's see, right now it is after 5. So it is exactly 5:15. And I guess I'm not gonna wake up at 5 in the morning to feed this sucker, right? So we'll just do it in the morning when I wake up. Tomorrow, the kids are back to school, so first thing when I come down, I'm just gonna feed it. Hopefully she's a little hangry by then, right? And she wants to be fed. And then your starter should have the consistency of pancake batter. So that's where we're at. Okay, I guess there's not much else to do. I do know that we need to put this in a nice warm place. Not hot, not like inside on top of your stove or anything, but it is a good idea to, especially since it's winter time, and my house is on the cooler side right now. I can put this next to the stove because I cook every day for these children of mine. So I do a lot of cooking. So my kitchen is probably the warmest place in the house because my heater's not on right now. And we want to make sure that this stays in a warmer temperature, like 70s, probably no more than 80s, because then I have to double check the actual temperature. It doesn't really say here, but just based on the research that I've done, between 70 and 88 degrees is the preferable temperature for it to do its thing. We also want to keep this away from anything that may have mold spores or could produce mold spores and come in here. So for example, if you have a fruit bowl sitting somewhere in your kitchen, you probably don't want to put this next to your fruit bowl, because if your fruit gets moldy or anything, then it could come in here and it could start mold in your starter. And if you do that, then you have to start all over from day one. And if you get a nice active starter with lots of activity, you don't want to mess it up. So okay, so I guess that's where we're at for now. It's all mixed in. I'm going to set it over there next to my stove, and I'm gonna see what the two gals are gonna do. I think I'm going to name this one Bubbles. Let me see here. Yeah, I think Bubbles is a good one. Okay, so let's put Bubbles over here next to my stove. And this is the homemade one that I made earlier today. It's quite a bit more, but that was earlier today. It's not really doing much, of course, because I wouldn't expect it to so early on. So anywho, there we are. This is Bubbles. This is the one that we actually ordered that had that sour smell, and this is the one that's homemade. So this one's definitely going to take longer, I think, to kind of do its thing and start the fermentation process. So I'm interested to see how both of them do tomorrow. So more to come. We'll check on both of them in the morning. Thank you. Bye-bye.